The reason why it is hard to put that phone down is because we don't know how the physical world works, especially when it comes to entertaining ourselves. Doing things in the physical world requires a lot of energy and a lot of time and also a lot of effort because we don't have algorithm and search bar in the real world. So we have to source everything manually and sometimes it is not easy to source entertainment in the physical world because everything is kind of like online these days and sourcing things whether it's information or entertainment sourcing it manually could be overwhelming especially if we are used to dependent on the search bar and the algorithm that we have on our phone so we can't really apply a lot of tips and tricks about how to fight phone addiction because they would be giving you tips like put your phone in a different room or set a timer on your apps or create a no phone zone. But the thing is, it is kind of impossible to apply those tips when we don't even know what to do when we put our phone down. Before we can follow the general tips on how to fight phone addiction, we need to be able to familiarize ourselves with the physical world and how it works. And in my opinion, the easiest way to familiarize ourselves with the physical world is by substituting our phone. I feel like we have to understand that we use our phone for different things. So substituting the phone is going to look different for different people. Now we're not going to be inventing new things or new tools or even new activities. We're not going to do that. If you see people on the internet substituting their phone with a book and then you try to follow them, but then you don't already like reading ebook on your phone, it's not going to work because the thing is we cannot go from someone who hates reading book, we cannot go from someone who spend 24/7 on our phone to someone who is able to put the phone down and pick up a book. It is impossible. Even if somehow you manage to put down that phone and pick up a book, it's not going to be sustainable. Let's be real. Let's be realistic. It's not going to be sustainable because you don't like reading book. So you wouldn't enjoy it. So you're going to end up crawling back to your phone anyway. What we're going to do instead is we're going to sit down and we're gonna list all of the things that we do on our phone. Watching TikToks or online shopping, even texting your friend. Literally just write everything down, whether it's on your notes app or in a physical book, even better. We're gonna list them from the most easiest and accessible thing to substitute to the hardest. Now, for me personally, the easiest thing to substitute was my notes app because I have access to pen and paper and I usually use my notes app for writing down literally everything. I write down my thoughts, my schedule, literally everything on my notes app. But because I do want to reduce my screen time, I substitute my notes app with a physical book. Now that doesn't mean I'm ditching my notes app completely because for me personally it's impossible. What I do is that if I do have access to pen and paper in and if I am able to just sit down and write everything on a pen and paper, then I'm gonna do that. However, when I'm outside, when I don't have an access to pen and paper, but I do have some ideas that I want to write down or important information that I need to write down, I'm gonna use my notes app. I'm not ditching my notes app completely. And it's not about that. That's not the goal. The goal is not to 100% eliminate the thing that are on the list. No, it's not. It's about reclaiming my independence. Like, hey, I can do this without my phone. Another example here, it is a little bit more complex, and that is watching TikTok or literally just like consuming entertainment. It is not as easy as just like substituting Notes app because with Notes app we can just like substitute it with pen and paper. It is really obvious, but with TikTok or YouTube or whatever, it is kind of uh complex. It is like depending on what type of content that we watch on those apps. And I'm just gonna use one example. For example, we use TikTok and Pinterest and YouTube to source fashion inspiration. But because we want to reduce our screen time, we decided that we're gonna be sourcing um, the outfit inspiration from the physical world. For example, through a fashion magazine. You don't have to buy it. You can borrow them from the local library. But here's the thing though. Doing things or even sourcing things in the physical world, not only that it takes a lot of time and energy and effort, but also we need to think. We need to use our brain a lot. And we need a lot of patience because when we look for an inspiration for an outfit on TikTok. Like we use the search bar, and then the algorithm already know what we like and what we don't like. So when we use the search bar, you're gonna be faced with a literal outfit. Like when you look up gothic outfit inspo, then exactly what you're gonna see. People wearing goth outfit. And we are sourcing inspiration from the physical world. It requires a lot of imagination and creativity and patient, because now you go on a walk, but like the thing is you cannot expect to see people wearing a full-on gothic outfit to inspires you. That's kind of impossible. But if you are imaginative enough, if you are patient enough, if you use your brain enough, you're gonna start seeing vision. For example, when you go out to look for inspiration, maybe it's the pattern of the sky that's gonna inspires you. Maybe it's the color of the lake that's gonna inspires you. Maybe it's gonna be the shape of the trees that's gonna inspire you. Or maybe you're gonna see people wearing a cute outfit, and then you be like, I can recreate that. You know what I'm saying? So the inspiration, the inspo is gonna come to you in a lot of different ways. So we need to be open. We need to be patient, and we need to be creative, and we need to be using our imagination when it comes to sourcing everything, especially inspiration in the physical world. But it is kind of important, though, to use our brain once in a while, reclaiming our independence when doing things or when coming up with things. So we are not being spoon fed 24/7 by the internet. Doing things in the physical world is boring as hell. And it is important for us to sit with that boredomness. Well, everybody knows that boredom is a door to the creative world. And it is really relevant when it comes to fighting phone addiction. I'm just gonna use my experience as an example. The first couple of days of substituting my notes app with the physical book, it is really boring because there's no clicking sound, there's no emoji that I could use. Literally, it's just a blank paper and a pen. Boredom is like inevitable. And instead of giving up, I decided to sit down with that boredomness. And from that, I gained a new hobby, and that is sketching. I went from 20 minutes of journaling to more than an hour of journaling and sketching. So, from substituting only one thing on that list, I am able to cut down my screen time up to more than an hour. So, think of it like a domino effect, because if I didn't sit down with that boredomness, I wouldn't be able to substitute my notes app because I would think that it's fucking boring. There's nothing else I can do. But because I sit down with that boredomness, I gain a new hobby, and from that new hobby, I have something that I can do that I know I can do in the physical world when I put my phone down, and that is sketching. So it's basically just like a domino effect. You know what I'm saying? A little disclaimer here: I use my phone majority of the time to source entertainment, like listening to music and watching movies, watching YouTube videos. So it is impossible for me to completely ditch my phone. And that is not the goal anyway. The goal is to, again, reclaim my independence in doing things in life, and also to use my phone mindfully. And the reason why it is impossible for me to ditch my phone completely is that physical media is kind of expensive, and it's also inaccessible majority of the time in where I live. So, yeah, that's the reason why I will never, ever, ever get rid of my phone completely. And it's just really impossible to get rid of our phone completely in this day and age where everything happens like online. Next week, I'm going to be introducing you to things that I am doing for fun in the physical world that has helped me a lot when it comes to fighting my phone addiction. So, see you next week, I guess. I don't know.